Greetings everyone from Movie Land. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Cinemacallie, and today I've got a very special Christmas / Halloween spooky treat, and that is the 4K edition of Five Nights at Freddy's. And I have been very excited for this to come out on physical media. It is wild to be at this point now. It's, if I may real quick go on a little tangent, I have been a fan of this series from almost the very beginning. I absolutely love it. I have played every single game. I have even read a few of the books. The books are not that great, and I lost interest, and they're probably more for people younger than me, so I'll let them have that. I'll stick to the games and, well, now the movies. And so yeah, it's pretty surreal getting to this point and following this series for almost, 10 years now? And here we are. We finally have a movie, and we physically have it now. I think that is just the coolest thing ever. So here we have the Five Nights at Freddy's 4K. There was no steelbook from what I could see. I was trying to look for the steelbook to see if there was going to be a steelbook edition, but I could not find one. Supposedly there is going to be one on Zavvi, and that is a UK-based retailer, so we'll see what ends up going into that. But at least from what I was able to find, this is the only one that's really available. It is, of course, also available in standard Blu-ray and DVD, but come on, you gotta go with the nice 4K. You get the beautiful slipcover. As you can see, there's a nice, beautiful front and back to the game, to the game, to the movie, of course. And so there we go. We'll just slide that off there. Ooh, yeah. So there's the 4K box itself, looking really good. And as you can see, it's the same pretty much on the front and the back there. And we'll go ahead and crack this open real quick. And on the inside, we have two discs. We have the 4K disc. And what I thought was really cool to see, especially as a game person and a huge fan of this series, we have a purple Blu-ray. Now, I'll just leave that there for those of you who have played the games or followed the lore and all that. This was a neat little Easter egg that they included in this as well. And so yeah, that's the inside of the 4K itself. Very impressed with it. Very nice presentation on here. I've also got to say, with the slipcover itself, it has a really nice kind of textured feel to it on there, and the holographic on there really makes this case pop, I feel. So I think with the way it is now, this is a pretty good looking set for this. I'm very happy with this. The transfer itself for the film looked amazing. This would be the third time I've seen this. I saw it once in the theaters, and I saw it on Peacock when it came out on that as well, and then for the viewing of this. And boy, this was probably the best this movie's ever looked. This is why we need to support 4K and physical media as a whole, just because not only do the movies end up looking better, but they also sound a lot better. I have to say, the sound on this was so much better than streaming. Obviously, you can't compare it to the theater. That's just not a fair comparison. The theaters that I live by always have really good sound. There's only been a few times that it's been a little iffy over the years, but for the most part, the theater sounds great. But for a home viewing, this is really the best way to go if you want that full, amazing, beautiful, colorful picture, and then also have the great surround sound system going along with it. Really gives this movie a really neat atmosphere for it to see for itself. There was one thing I was a little disappointed on, though, with this, was the fact that the bonus features were very lacking. As you can see, they call this the Night Shift Edition, and you would think that would mean there's something special about this. And if I'm being honest, there really isn't anything too special about this. If you just compare this to a standard 4K movie or even a standard Blu-ray, there really isn't much here outside of a few things. This doesn't even have a commentary on it. Fun fact. So there's no commentary. It's just the movie, and then three bonus features. That's all that's on there, is 3 bonus features. They're cool features to see, but they're really nothing super special about them. They kind of talk about, it's your standard stuff. Like, there's one that's just generally about the making of the movie, and there's really nothing special to it. It's just the director. They have Jason Blum comes on, since this was produced by Blumhouse. They have the director come on, they have a few of the actors come on, and they just kind of talk about your standard, oh, it was so nice working on here, and this was a beautiful set, and it was so cool seeing all this stuff from the games come to life. So there was that, and then there was also the second feature was about the suits and the making of the suits as a whole. And I thought that was pretty cool. My biggest problem with it was only 5 minutes long. So it really just kind of brushed over the quick details of like, hey, the suits were created by Jim Henson. We built a few different versions of them. We have actual costumes that actors can wear. And then we have ones where there's actual animatronics inside them, and they're fully functioning animatronics. And so, I mean, it's cool, but when it's only 5 minutes long, you can't really go too much deeper than that. And the third one, I'm honestly having a little bit hard time forgetting, is, oh yes, they talk about the production design. Another special feature that was only 5 minutes long. And as you can see, they're all very super memorable. And but the third one talks about the production design and how they actually built this, how they converted this restaurant that I think they said was a former Chuck E. Cheese at one point, or a Billy Bob. I'm forgetting the name of that right now, but they convert one of those old restaurants into this, so that was kind of cool. And then they talked about how they put Easter eggs throughout it, and so they were pretty okay. I mean, I ended up tallying the total runtime of all of our bonus features by the end of this, and it was 22 minutes long. So that was very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Because I was really hoping, and I mean, I guess joke's on me, I suppose, because I thought that, hey, it's the Night Shift Edition, and maybe we'll get some cool bonus features with this, because I really wanted to see some of the behind the scenes of this. And I was really excited to see how they made it and start exploring that side of it. And it really just gives us just the tiniest of taste. So I'm hoping maybe down the line when we get the inevitable series box set, because let's be honest, we're probably going to get like at least 4 more of these. At least 3. I feel 3 or 4 more Freddy movies. And so maybe we'll get a nice big beefy box set that includes way more bonus features, way more behind the scenes, maybe a commentary or 2, and really add something to that. So if you're looking for bonus features, unfortunately there's barely anything here, and you could probably honestly look these up on YouTube, seeing as how short and just insignificant they really are at the end of the day. And so yeah, so overall, I would say if you are a fan of this movie, which I was, and then I highly recommend picking this up. It is a really cool box to have, and to the fact that we finally have this in physical format is just so neat to see. And so I'm really happy with that. And I also wanted to give some real quick thoughts on the movie itself, because I wanted to, because I have some things to say about this, but in all reality, there really isn't much to say. Boy, was this probably one of the safest movies I've ever seen, besides maybe Mario movie earlier this year. It was okay. I would say it was probably around a 6. I leaned towards more of a 7 just because I really appreciated the suits and the actual shot on locations and the converting of a restaurant and all of that. And so I really appreciated it for that side. And of course, Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard bringing their A games to this, both really excellent in this. Real quick with Matthew Lillard, though, I was very disappointed, very, very disappointed in not in his performance, don't get me wrong. He is hamming it up. He's having a great time in this. It's just, his stuff is so weird. He only literally has 3 scenes in this entire movie. And then when he shows up at the very end, sorry, spoilers, is when he shows up at the very end, and the fact that he's like, oh, I'm the big bad, and he comes out in the Springtrap suit and all of that, and he's doing the thing, and they fight him, and it's this big kind of dumb, goofy battle and all that. And then when the spring locks finally start cutting in on him, it bugs the heck out of me, because he's always like, oh, I'll come back. I always come back. And yes, that is a thing William Afton / Springtrap does say through the video games, but it's just weird because it would make sense if it was the second movie or the third movie, him saying that, but it's just hard not to be like, yeah, but from what? What are you coming back from? So I always thought that was really weird. It always really stuck out to me. And the fact that we never actually see him kill anybody or him actually really interacting with the other animatronics at the very end of the movie, that's really all we get with that. So it just kind of felt like he just kind of appeared because he is William Afton, which is the big villain of the whole series. He's the one that kills the kids and puts them in the suits and all that. So it's just very odd that's how it ended up going. And Josh Hutcherson was really good in this. Very, very good in this. The other thing I want to say is that I really wish it didn't focus on the dream stuff as much as it did. I felt that took a lot away from what we could have had with more animatronic stuff happening and more stuff with Freddy's or even more lore, but we just kept focusing on these dream sequences, and it was so weird, and I didn't really get it. So there was that. But overall, it was a pretty good movie. I really like to think that it's a good gateway horror movie for younger audiences, like how Gremlins was for me. Gremlins was probably one of the more horror-ish movies, I would say, that I ever saw, and it got me into the genre. So I kind of am like, yeah, Freddy's would be, I think, something like that for someone around the 10 to 13 age range, depending on what they can handle. And that it could potentially get them into a genre that just means the absolute world to me. So that would be pretty cool. But as it stands now, it's a pretty decent movie, but it leaves a lot unanswered, which the cynic in me feels like, well, they did that on purpose because they knew they were going to make money on this. So they were already planning on greenlighting a sequel. So they went into that with that, which I feel just kind of hurts this. And then, like I said, the thing with William Afton and how we only get a few scenes with him, and then all of a sudden he shows up at the end in the Springtrap suit, and that's not really set up on or anything like that. And then also, too, we don't really get a whole lot of the animatronics, Freddy and the gang, really doing too much. They do a few things, but they don't ever really get as creepy as they are in the games. There's a few scenes here and there, but for the most part, it's just kind of So So yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's, I give it a 7 out of 10. And especially watch it if you are a fan of the games like I am. This was definitely made for the fans. And in a way, I really respect it for that. And also, thank you, Scott, for all the years of entertainment and following this great series. And it feels like the future is so bright, and we finally made it to where an actual movie exists, and I am physically holding it. That is so cool. And so with that being said, I will see you guys on the next one.